Welcome to the last part of this series, where we'll be preparing to launch our site and finally making it public. I've finished customizing my site design in part 3, and this is what it's looking like now. If you've been following along with me, you should also now have a site with all your content in it and a design that you're happy with. There are just a few things we need to do before we make our site live and share it with the world. From the website screen, click Content and General. In the homepage description field, you should enter a short but descriptive summary about your website. This is the snippet of text that can be seen in search engines when someone searches for your site, also known as the meta description. It should be written in normal language, don't use keywords or anything like that, just normal sentences. This doesn't directly affect your search ranking, but as it's visible when someone searches you, it may be the first contact you have with a visitor, so you want this text to be compelling and descriptive. Also on this website screen are the website icons. Dpg randomly generates an icon for you, so yours will be a different color to mine. If you want to change this to your own branding, choose a file and click Upload for each icon type. The fave icon is the little icon that shows in the browser tab when your website is visited, and there are other icons for various devices for when your website is saved or pinned to the home screen. Pinned site icon should be in SVG format, and for the rest, PNG is ideal, and we suggest dimensions of 512 pixels at the minimum, and then Dpg will scale them down as necessary to optimize them for you. Next up, the legal bit. If we head over to the Pages tab, you'll see that Dpg has automatically generated a cookie policy page for you. This works with the cookie banner and outlines the cookies that Dpg stores, but if you add any additional third-party code such as tracking or statistics of some kind, you may need to update this. Click the Edit button and select the Content tab where you can edit and add to the text to your requirements. In the Design section, if you've already closed the cookie banner previously, you can trigger it again by going to the Cookies page from the footer. On the cookie page, you can click the Edit Consent Preferences link here. Once the banner is popped back up, you can click the Page tab, and under Privacy, you can change the style of the banner. In addition to the cookie page, you can also create a privacy policy by going to Pages from the website screen and creating a privacy policy page. Fill in a name and path, and you can choose not to add it to the navigation so it doesn't show up in the main navigation. This page just has placeholder text, so click the Edit button to add your own text and click Update to save it. A good place to put a link to the privacy policy is the footer, and you can go to Content and Footer to create a link to it here. Depending on your country of residence, there may be other laws you have to follow regarding the collection and storage of data and the information you have to provide to visitors. So do check the guidelines which apply to you and your site to make sure that you're complying with them. With all that done, I think my site is almost ready. The final thing to do is to test it and check over everything to make sure it's all looking great and that I'm happy with it. Open your site in the browser and go through every single page to make sure that everything is as it should be. Check the text, make sure there aren't any errors, that all the spelling is correct. Click on any links to social media or email addresses to make sure they're right. And test the contact page form if you have one, making sure that you receive the email at the correct email address. Just check everything one final time. If you've made changes to the design and the theme settings, it's important to check that they work correctly on both desktop and mobile devices. If you have a tablet or any other devices, that's great too. The more the better when it comes to testing. Check that all text is legible, the colours look good, and the sizes work on smaller devices as well as large ones. I've been through my site with a fine-tooth comb and it's perfect, and I'm ready to make it public. If you remember back to the very beginning when I talked about hosts, we now need to add a public host. From the website screen, click Hosts, and here you can see your testing host as normal. We now want to add a host. If you click on that button, you'll see your options. Here's the things you can do. You can add a Dpg Public Host. We have a selection of hosts that you can use which are secure and completely free for you to use. This is super quick and easy and doesn't require any setup or configuration. You can add a Dpg Testing host if for some reason you want to change or replace the one you have already. Move a host from an existing domain is for users who already have a site configured to point to Dpg, so that's not relevant to you if you're a new user. And finally, use your own domain, which is for you if you have your own domain name already. I'll show you both the first and the last one of these settings. To add a Dpg Public Host, select that option from the drop-down, and then fill in the name you want to use here and click Add. This name is unique, so if you pick a name that's used by someone else, you'll get a number added to it like my testing host does here. But mine is unique, so here it is. It's a public host and it starts with HTTPS, so it's secure and I can use this address to start getting visitors to my site immediately. If you have your own domain name already, then you should choose Use Your Own Domain from the drop-down instead. Type in your domain in the boxes and click Add. That's showing with the red alert icon on it because it needs to be configured to point to DPG. Click the Settings button and you'll see the DNS settings which need to be updated in the Domain Registrar's control panel. In these columns, you can see what each record is set to, which is the current value, and what they should be set to, which is the expected value. As you can see, the A name needs to be updated from this value to this one, and the two C name records are showing as null because they don't exist yet. I need to create them in my domain control panel. Different domain registrars have quite different interfaces for this process, so it's difficult to show you this step exactly, but each should have a support guide showing how to do this. You'll be looking for a way to change DNS records, or they're sometimes called advanced DNS records. If you're not sure how to do this, or you don't feel confident making the changes on your own, please get in touch with us and we can talk you through it and make sure everything is done correctly. DNS changes can take up to 24 hours, so even if you've done everything correctly, you might have to wait a little while for the changes to happen. You can check by simply visiting a website, and once the newly added URL shows a new website, then you're good to go. Your site should only have one public host, but you should also keep your testing host. When you make updates to your site, like adding new content, uploading new images, making any kind of changes, you check those on the testing host. The public host will be cached, so changes don't appear immediately, but because it's cached, the public host is faster for visitors. So one more time, the testing host is just for you. It's uncached and it reflects all changes immediately. The public host, that's the address for visitors. It's cached and indexed by search engines, so that's the one to promote. So once you have your public DPG URL, or if you've added your own domain, you've waited for the DNS changes to take place, you're really done. Your website is out there and you can get to work telling people about it and welcoming visitors. So this brings us to the end of this video and this course. But really this is just the beginning. One of the benefits of DPG is how easy it is to update your website. To add new content, all you have to do is upload new images into one of the sets in your gallery or add new sets or pages. We think that your website shouldn't be this huge project that you do once and then don't touch again for years while it sits there just slowly getting out of date. With DPG, adding content is really easy, so you can keep your site fresh with new work whenever you like. If you feel like a design change, you can also revisit the design section and totally change up the look with a new theme or a new gallery style. And now that you've learned how to make your first site in DPG, you might find that you need another one. DPG lets you build multiple separate websites in your one account. So if you have a side project that could use a website, maybe you can make a site for that too. DPG lets you build all kinds of sites, from blogs to shops and client delivery sites. So your first site may not be your last. Thank you for sticking with me for this series of videos, and I really hope you found them helpful. If you have any questions, feedback, or any other queries, you can reach us by emailing support@digitalphotogallery.com anytime. We'd love to see what you create with DPG, and we love to help if you need any website advice. So drop us an email and don't be a stranger. Take care, and thanks for watching.